All right, we're here with Coach Johnson, and Coach, another really impressive performance last week with the win over the Cobbers. What were some of your takeaways from the game?
I was so proud of our guys. I could hardly breathe. We're playing really fast on defense. Going into the game, quite frankly, you get so close, with these guys, and I just always want to be authentic. And one of the things that we talk about is you got to be this guy and this team, and you got to do that every day. And one of the things we talk about is, don't miss the game because you're worried about the score. And to me, I was worried, I'm kind of worried about the score. And it was just a big game. And so we're kind of in that thing together, and I love that. Our guys practice really well, really hard all the time. And it doesn't matter who we're playing. And I'm excited about that. It breeds more good practice, but it also relationships and accountability and all those life things that go along with it. And so it's like we're just growing at a time where some teams are kind of, settling in and kind of getting through the end. We're just going day to day and enjoying the ride and doing good things. And so, the kids played really well, fought adversity right away, but played a real physical Concordia team, and we felt like we out-physicaled them on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's great. So we've been talking about the defense here a lot. A lot of stars on that side of the ball, a lot of really impressive statistics as well. But one statistic that really jumped out at me was number 2 in the nation right now in defensive touchdowns. With 5 of them, which is second only to Mount Union, who has 6. With that stat, is that something that can be practiced, or what's the secret to that stat?
That's a good question, because there's you practice your drills, you do those things. Sometimes the more you talk about turnovers, it seems like the more you talk about turnovers, the more they either happen to you or you don't get, well, we work on this all the time. And I think it is something. I believe this, Tim. We are really playing fast right now, and we have got a lot of people at the football, to the deal. And you can do drills for all that, and we kind of have some early in camp. But right now, the guys are just playing with enthusiasm and surety, and it's just allowing us to play fast. So there's a lot of people at the football, and so on the play where we scored this time, I was kind of seriously in the midst of the whole thing, and there's for the ADD mind, I can think of a lot of things during a football game, but it is important that we're running to the football, and in the middle of that play, we missed 2 tackles, and I'm like, yay! It went from I was kind of ticked to a touchdown, and Tavion just drilled a guy, and Peach is right there, so they're smoking a guy who, was kind of getting away, and then you got a big hit, and then Trey is right there, and then Trey is an unbelievable athlete, having a great year. Trey Anderson picks the ball midair, makes some moves, ballerina on the sideline, and then dives for the pylon, and just a joy on those guys, and in my heart, and then those guys coming back, and. I don't know. I'm trying to answer your question, and I think it's right, but we're opportunistic. We know what's going on. We're getting a feel for people. Dawson Brown kind of, he baits some. We got into the place where when you know your defense well enough, and then you understand your opponent, you can kind of be that fraction of a second earlier, and maybe a knockdown pass turns into a pick. And maybe another hat on the football. Gives you that fumble, and then some pretty good athletes that are scooping and scoring. So,
Yep. So I feel like if this is possible, the offense has kind of been a little bit maybe, undershadowed, or maybe hasn't gotten the recognition that maybe they deserve this year, because we would talk about the defense so much. Like I said, I don't know if that's possible when you're averaging 35 points a game, only been held under 30 once. But when you talk about with football and overshadowed, the first position to me that comes to mind is always the offensive line.
Yeah.
As a former offensive lineman yourself, I think you understand that. But what is their play this year? What has that meant to this current 6-1 record?
You can't say enough about, and we're kind of not, we're we're purposefully not into who gets the credit and stuff like that, and that's a big deal. But I agree totally. Our offensive line, Coach Richards has those guys they are coming off the ball like gangbusters. They are smart. They really know what they're doing. If they make a mistake or they get tricked on a play, they have another way that stays in the system, to tweak that. And so next time we see that look, bam, we're going to do that. And so there's really a game within the game with those guys. And but you can't. Those guys have been playing great, and but also behind them they kind of feed each other, because Gibbous is so tough, and he practices. He snaps around when you see him on game day. That's how he practices. And man, you practice like you play. That's a true deal. Your habits. But Gibbous is so tough, so fast, and so he energizes those guys. And then those guys energize him. And the same thing, Brady Bombstead, he's going to play a little bit this week. He's been a great leader, although he's been hurt. He's kind of coming through that way. Bryce Kunkel, new guy, Gideon, and I don't want to leave a guy out there. So we've got toughness and guys that are just playing their hearts out and just playing hard out at receiver. With Drew Larson and Kenneke, Pitlack, and Carlson, all those guys. And it's a day-to-day deal, and so it's not a surprise on Saturday. And I still get nervous,
Right.
But it's been a total team deal, and I think we talk about having good juice, and there's a lot of good juice, and good juice can't be evident only when you win and only when it's going good, and so I'm really proud of our team that way, and it's a total deal.
Yeah. So from a fan's perspective now, I know. From a fan's perspective, that everybody's kind of looking at the St. Thomas game. Now that we've beaten Concordia,
Sure.
Everybody's kind of looking at that St. Thomas game at the end of the year, which could be determines who get in the NCAA playoffs and who doesn't. But from a coaches and players perspective, you can't certainly allow yourself to do that. You got to stay with what's next. So when you're facing a winless Hamline team here this week, how do you stay on the task at hand and keep that mindset of what's next?
Yeah, and in a way, you can't. If you weren't doing that already, you can't do that now. And because I'm just the same. I mean, I'm a fan of us too. But the deal is, this is where I'm kind of proud of our guys. I kind of answered this ahead of time. Our guys practice at this level all the time, and when they don't, we notice, and when they don't, they know. And so we aren't really changing anything to where we've got to get better, and we're even a little bit harder on ourselves as far as fundamental type things, and we really have all the way through not talk. We have specifically said whoever shows up Saturday to play us, this is what we're going to give them, and we're really doing that now. Obviously, schemes and doing all those different things. So I don't care what anybody's record is or anything else. We're going to do our stuff, and we've got to get better at it every single dang day. And that has been our charge, to bring a happy heart to a place, go to work with a happy heart, which is what we want to make a way of life. A bunch of men doing that wouldn't hurt our country any. And so we're going to work every day and with joy. And the results have been good, but I don't want to. It's not about all the results. It's, what kind of man do you want to be every dang day? And so really, not to be pie in the sky or is we're just preparing to be great, because we have to grow these next 2 weeks, and really it's a blessing to be in a championship game at the end, and so, we need to win out. They need to win out, and then I think that the winner of the St. Thomas Bethel game, if we win our games and they win theirs, the winner of that game will go to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, go get them on Saturday, and good luck.
Can't wait.